What's up, Tsla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall markets. I'm going to break down why the market's getting a big rejection right now, what's happening with Tesla stock. As even though we have some good news that came out, we're still seeing a very, very big move to the downside. But just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 30, and the offer ends at the end of March. Anyways, as far as the market's going, as you guys could tell, Tesla was trying to bounce. It came very close to my target of 348. And I said that once we hit this, we'll be looking to see if Tesla makes a move to the downside. And then we'd be watching to see if we bounce again and try to get back above that to really start pushing. If we couldn't hold above 348, we were looking for a rejection move. And that's what's happening so far. Also on SPY, I mentioned that if we could break 603, I'd be bullish. If we lost 602, I would turn bearish, and we would have been expecting a drop that ended up leading to the sell-off. So let's talk about Tesla. What's going on? There is some good news. I just want to mention that Tesla's preparing to deploy its full FSD features in China, according to Bloomberg News. And this is good news because at the end of the day, this is going to be, not only helping Tesla build a lot more data, at least in China, but it could be very, very lucrative, if anything. So this is some big news that's coming out. Tesla is readying a software update for customers in China to offer driving assistance capabilities, which are very similar to its FSD features in the USA. The capabilities will be deployed to customers that have paid about $8,800 for what Tesla calls the FSD. And then the self-driving update will allow Tesla owners to use driver assist features in the city streets in many different areas, which is very, very cool. So awesome stuff. If anything, we didn't get the exact details from Tesla. They were asked to comment by Reuters. We haven't really gotten a report yet. But if anything, this is good news as they are once again continuing to expand FSD. Now, there's going to be a lot of roadblocks, a lot of barriers that do get in the way, at least for them. But this is still a very, very good step in the right progress. So very, very good news, at least for them. And then on top of this, there's this news right over here about how Tesla may be announcing the Model S and Model X refreshes later this year. This is what a Tesla executive has announced, that the automaker plans to update the Model S and Model X vehicle programs very, very soon. It's very awesome to see, especially after we are about to get the Model Y refresh. So hopefully this news is true. I can't wait to see when this truly comes out, and it's very exciting, at least for the future. For now, there's no real specific details about this yet, so we have to wait and see. Besides that, just know that in terms of our economic calendar, at 11:30 a.m., we have the 3-month bill auction, not to mention the 6-month, and that's pretty much it. There's nothing else that's too significant. So what's happening to the markets? Well, honestly, guys, we're seeing the algorithms taking over. And we're seeing Tesla rejecting with the whole market. The entire market got a rejection. This is just a continuation move from Friday, and also because there's been some fear about business activity declining, especially because of fears about inflation going up. And then you can't forget about the fact that Donald Trump is going to be possibly imposing more tariffs on Canada and Mexico by March 4th. It's not 100% confirmed. We have to wait and see if Trump makes any announcements, any changes, but for now, that's what's on schedule. And then you also have to remember that when it comes to making that announcement, for Canada, there could also be like a 10% tariff on just petroleum. So we'll see how that goes, guys. Could that cause higher inflation? We'll have to see about that. But according to reports, the majority of consumers do believe that, and that's affecting their overall business practices. So that being said, what do I see for Tesla? We got a rejection so far. We're going to be watching to see if we could try to hold 325. That's the critical support for Tesla. If that fails, I could be looking for us to retest 320.5 flat. To bounce, you want to see us try to get back above 340. For now, we're looking a little bit more bearish. We got this big rejection despite all the good news that was coming out. So we had a very, very good piece of news in the morning, especially with the Model Y prices coming down as they're trying to get rid of inventory before the refresh. But it wasn't really enough to cause us to bounce. We're getting a rejection instead. So we are favoring a move back down to 325 if we can't hold 330. And there's a bit of a slowdown right here. Now, despite this rejection, you go into like the 30 minutes time frame. Tesla's trying to form a base at 325. We have to see if we can hold that. But for now, we're very, very weak, and we're technically on a downtrend. Unless we get back above the 340s, we're still continuing to favor, the downwards direction. As you can see, we're making lower highs and lower lows. And this may continue to fall as time goes on to retest 325. On SPY, we we gapped up, and then we got this rejection to fill the gap. I said if we lost 602, expect us to dump. Had we broken this trend line, I'd be looking for a bounce. Unfortunately, we got a rejection instead. Looking at the 4-hour time frame, it's the same setup essentially. So notice that we had rejection, rejection, rejection off this yellow trend line. We bounced above it only to come back down. We got a retest and we rejected. So far it's bearish unless we get back above like 599.5 and then eventually 602. Yes, if we get back above those levels, I'm looking for a bounce. But for now, as long as we're below 599, this is still favoring downside. It does look like we're trying to base around 596.5. So we'll see if that holds. If not, 595 is coming. And I want to see us get back above 599.5 to bounce. Otherwise, we are still shuffling and a bit more bearish looking. On the QQQ, we need to try to get back above 522, 522.39 to be more precise. If we can't do that and we end up losing 520, we're looking for a bigger dip. So watch to see if we get a bounce. Otherwise, we're still favoring the downwards direction. On the Russell 2000, we're on a bit of a downtrend here. We have to see if we bounce or not. If we get back above 220, we're looking for a rebound. If we can't, we're going to be continuing to fall. So look at this 215 area. We have to try to hold around 214 to 215. If that holds, we could try to bounce. Otherwise, we're looking at a little bit more bearish, at least for the time being. For ES, we're on a bit of a downtrend right now, and the reason for that is because we wanted to hold above our key support, this yellow trend line. We actually rejected instead, so we were not able to hold above this. I mentioned that if we lost the trend line, we're looking for 6,000. If we had held that, we'd be looking for a big bounce. Unfortunately, we did not hold support, so we're watching to see if 6,000 holds. If not, look for 59.80. We're barely at support. We need to reclaim this trend line to bounce. Otherwise, we're still favoring downside, and that's what we're doing so far. Same thing with NQ. I wanted to see us, I wanted to see us hold above this trend line right here to really start bouncing. If not, this may continue to fall all the way down towards 21,400. So it still looks a bit more bearish. Bitcoin's rejecting here. We're looking for 94,000 flats. If that fails, so I'm looking for 92,500. Nvidia tried to rebound only to reject here, so I'm going to be watching to see, is this a left shoulder heading to the right shoulder, or is Nvidia about to drop harder? Look for 130 to see if it holds. We also have support around 120, the 130 area, basically, 128 to 130. If we lose 128, we're looking for a much bigger dump, so watch those two supports. We need to get back above 135 to bounce, otherwise we favor downside. Once again, for Tesla, we're looking weak. We're looking for a move closer to like the low 320s. This is still looking weaker. 325 could be retested. There's no sign of a true bounce yet. Apple's trying to bounce. This is more resilient. We did mention this in the morning. We're holding above 244. As long as we're above that, I'm looking for 248 and 250 is our targets. We need to lose 244 to turn bearish, but for now we're holding up. So overall, it's doing a good job, especially with the inverse head and shoulders like pattern. So far, it is a bit more bullish looking. So Apple's outperforming the markets. AMD got a rejection exactly as predicted. 108 has been made. We need to try to get back above that. Otherwise, this gap fill is coming to like 107. Notice that Palantir had an interesting setup. We're starting to fill the gap down here. So when you look at, for example, the daily time frame, there's a big gap all the way down here around this like 83 area. So if we can't get back above 100, I do expect the 80s very quickly. For Amazon, unfortunately, Amazon was not able to hold the 215 area. We have a gap to fill down here around 207. So I'm looking for 210 as the next potential target, or very close to that area. We need to hold 210, otherwise we fill the gap to 207. So watch for a decline very close to that. Meta took a big hit. We're looking for 656 as our potential target to see if we bounce. Overall, it's still showing some weakness. Microsoft is rejecting. Could be dipping closer to 400 flat. We'll have to see if that holds. And then Google has supported 180. It's very flat right now, not really doing a whole lot. Overall, the market is still showing weakness. It looks like the VIX is not ready to reject yet. The VIX is still bullish. So we're waiting to see what kind of reaction we get. For now, the market remains bearish, and then we'll have to see what happens with Nvidia's earnings, which could be affecting whether or not this continues. So for now, the bears have a bigger edge. Even Tesla's rejecting. We do have a risk of returning to like 325. Then we'll see how it goes from here. So I want to thank you all so much for listening. There's downside risk for now for the markets. I just want to give you guys an update about that. And I'll be back with another upload in just a couple of hours to let you guys know how it's looking. Anyways, I thank you for listening, and peace out.